Okay, so here we are again. There's other things that we want to look at with the Blackmagic Camera app. And I think one of the best features of this app is actually down at the bottom. If you see the record button and then you come all the way to the very bottom under the record button, you will see that there is a thing that allows you to control image stabilization. By default, this is on standard and it does a pretty good job. If you're going to be filming on a tripod or filming on a gimbal or something that's going to be stabilizing for you, you could turn it off if you want to, but that's going to show a lot more shake in your image. I would probably just leave it on standard, but notice what happens if I'm on standard and I go to off. When I go to off, it zooms out a little bit. What is happening when I do this is it is kind of zooming in a little bit. It's cropping the image and it is shaking the image the opposite direction of the way my motion is carrying it, so that it makes it have the illusion that it's staying stable. So it's kind of a digital way of doing this, and it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but I would say it does a great job. If you were using your phone and you did not have a tripod, which a lot of times we won't, just because it's hard to make sure that we have all of the right equipment for everybody, I would use either cinematic or I would use extreme, and those are going to add different levels of stabilization. Honestly, if I'm moving at all, I'm using extreme, and it does pretty good, but you may just want to put it cinematic. That does a pretty good job. It doesn't crop quite as much. All right, again, that's down at the bottom under the record button. You can turn it off by going up and clicking that, but you want to bring that open so you can see. Right above that, we have something called LUTs. LUTs are just, you can go through these and see, right? Like if you want to do day, night, this is supposed to make your image look like it is nighttime, even though you're shooting in daylight. Now, I'm going to be real. I do not particularly care for LUTs. I don't think you should use one on the camera while you're filming. I think you should get the best neutral image that you can, and then you can actually apply a LUT when you are editing so that you can color your video to have a certain look. Now, again, we talked about Rec 709 a few days ago. Rec 709 is going to kind of bake in the colors, but you can still do some adjustments, especially when you're putting a LUT in there. It kind of is a filter on top, which is going to change the color somewhat for you. All right, right below that, you've got your different lens options so that you can do some cool things here. If you have it just on this, you can click this and it'll do some zooms for you. I don't ever want to see you recording a zoom. I say that as a broad blanket statement, and I believe it with every fiber of my being. There may be a time where a zoom makes sense while you're filming, but for the most part, I don't think you should do that. If you need to zoom in on something and you cannot walk closer to it, then go ahead and zoom in on it and then hit record. Don't record while you're zooming, because nobody ever really uses that in the industry. So there we are. I'm back out to my 1X. And that is the buttons right below the record button. Right above that, we have our ISO controls, which is it's handy to have over there. You've also got it at the top of the screen. So, I don't really know why you would need it at that point there. Below that, you've got your focus, and your focus is generally going to be set to auto. But if you turn that off, you can adjust what's in focus. So maybe you want to have your image out of focus and then slowly bring your image into focus. I don't know why you would really want to do that. In this case, it's hard to do that with a phone. It is a lot easier to do that when you have a camera with a lens and the lens has a control for that. But I'm going to go ahead and hit auto and turn that back on. What I will point out is if you shift your camera and you're not recording, when you tap the screen, you see that it does autofocus. If you long press on that, it will lock the focus. You definitely need to do this every single time you're filming, you want to lock your focus so that what you want in focus stays in focus. That is very, very important. If you have it on auto and somebody were to walk in front of your camera, then they're going to be the thing that shifts to focus. If you have somebody walk behind what you're focused on, the camera may shift over and focus on them. But with these, all you have to do is just tap and you can lock and unlock that focus. And it is really important to know to lock your focus when you are filming with your phone. All right, that was right here. It is the second option above the record button. Again, if you don't have on auto, you can adjust that to whatever you want. I'm just going to put it back to auto, and then I'll turn that off. Above that, you're going to have some overlay options, things that can really help you out. I'm not going to go through all of these right now, but the one I do want to show you is the third one down. And this is going to allow you to turn on different grids. We are going to spend some time learning about something called the rule of thirds and how that helps you to frame up your shots. It's actually kind of cool because I just turned that on and I wasn't even really paying attention to what I was doing, but my video was already using the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is going to be the tic-tac-toe grid that goes on top of your screen that allows you to frame up things in the most appealing way possible. And we will talk about why that is and how that is and stuff later. But it's worth noting that you have that option here. So you can go and turn that off or turn that on if you need it. I would recommend that you at least start by using it because it will make a difference. We're going to spend a day learning a lot about the rule of thirds, like as a concept and how you would apply it. So at some point you will be using this grid, but just to know that it's an option inside of there is pretty cool. Now, I'm not going to get onto this right now. This is, let's see, it's dealing with, I think they call it torch. I don't ever use the light on my phone while I'm filming because it just looks bad. It makes people look bad. And so I like to leave that turned off. You can see that it does actually make the color look better there. But I'm going to turn that off, and I'm not going to use that. But it's worth knowing that it is there if you wanted to use it. This is something called false color, and it helps with making sure your image is exposed properly. But we're not going to get into that now. I'll be honest with you, I need to learn a lot more about false color as well. But that's going to be the top option above the record button. So that is the main things you need to know about the Blackmagic Camera App. That's 3 days worth of lessons, 3 days worth of notes, 3 days worth of quizzes, and a lifetime worth of information. I'm telling you, everything that you just learned from this app is something that you will be able to use in any other camera that you use, whether it's a Blackmagic camera, whether it's an Arri Alexa, which is a crazy expensive film camera. It really doesn't matter. All of these functions are going to be in those cameras. We're going to spend more time diving into what those functions actually do on cameras. But right now, you have a great start to learning how to take better video. And the main thing you need to know is, as a director of photography, a cinematographer, whatever it is you want to call yourself, you need to know how to manually control your camera to make creative decisions to tell good stories. That's ultimately what all of this is. This is exposure to that, and it is something that is going to make you better at this than other people who just hit record. We don't want to just hit record. We want to make art. So thank you for being a part of the class. Thank you for paying attention to these lessons, and let's go make some awesome videos.